All right, we're going to be looking at gold and silver, and we're also going to take a look at a couple of Nasdaq trades as well as pound New Zealand. We'll be looking at the opportunities that were presented this morning and a couple of days ago on the British and Euro versus the New Zealand dollar. And there's a couple of things on Bitcoin I'd like to share as well, but we're going to be touching on a lot here today. But all in all, well, let's first start with Nasdaq. So what ended up happening with the Nasdaq this morning? Um, I was looking on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and the 5 second chart. I like looking at the 5 second chart when I'm trading on the 1 minute just to see where the gaps are at because the gaps have a strong indication of when price is going to reverse. And you can see how the market, was kind of consolidating a bit of ranging prior to the open, but prior to the 8:30 a.m. session, prior a couple of minutes before that, I like to look for these gaps in here. I like to look for any gaps that I can find because the market's going to want to fill it in, right? So ones like here got very very close to that gap, but this one down here stood out to me. So we had the gap from here, right? Just filled it in, and we also had this one stood out to me a lot too, mainly because of how big it was. Although it was in the opposite direction, it's still a nice gap. We also have this little volume imbalance here as well. So, given all of these gaps, right, the market wants to bounce off of these gaps, right? So, a bit of butterfingers here. Holy cow. Okay. So, what I'm looking for here is I want to see these gaps get filled in. So you can see how even though this volume imbalance was filled in from the next candle or the same candle, right, it still filled it in a little bit later with this one, right? And right after that, it wanted to fill in the volume imbalance from these two candles, right? So it did that, pushed up. This is all of like what the Asian session looks like on the 1 minute time frame. Funny enough, but all three of these volume imbalances, because I'm looking for higher prices, right? So if I'm looking for higher prices, I want to see price respect. Oops, I want to see price respect these levels to the upside, right? So um, essentially, the market did respect them very well, right? So what ended up happening, you can clear as day see that respected that one. Didn't want to get into it, got into it completely, touched the just about missed the VWAP a little bit, and then right after that respected the first one, and then got some traction to go up higher right after 8:30, and then like what a coincidence! It's like how this works, right? So right as soon as 8:30 a.m. open starts, it goes down first, right? It goes down first, fills in the gaps, and then immediately reverses and goes up higher. I mean, it's just this is just like what other conclusion could you possibly come to make sense of this, right? And in my mind, the only thing that would make sense from this is these have to get respected all the time. So we can drag it back and go to a different day, but I really don't want to do that on the 5 second time frame to be honest with you. But essentially, that's what I look for. And my entry on the 1 minute time frame would have been, let me see, so I traded twice here, but it's all hypothetical. But these are all done live, but they're like hypothetical because it's not. I'm not using paper trading. I'm not using a prop firm or anything like that. Just looking at it, right? So as soon as the price comes down, now remember all of these on the 5 second time frame. I'm not looking at live. I'm just looking for a reason why I should get in. So on here, you can see the SMT on the 5 minute. So pulling out the 5 minute, you can see the SMT right on the VWAP, right? So from here to there, that's that VWAP right there. So that one makes a higher low. This one, oops, makes a lower low. And I want to move that to the back actually. Visual order, send backward, and send back to back. Send to back. Okay. So you can see the candles clearly. Lower low, higher low. Once the market starts to push up higher, that's whenever I would get in. And I wanted to get out here because this is a previous day, new day opening gap previously, right? So I wanted to see take profit get hit there, hit it, and then immediately reverses down towards the downside. And from here, you have a higher low and you have a lower low here. I wanted to short that, but I was looking on the 1 minute time frame. But this one, the reason why I stopped it there was because the fair value gap will be filled right there, and I'm no longer looking for any reason why I should go lower. Like I don't really like whenever I see new day opening gaps like this, I usually play conservative, especially since we're on an uptrend. So if we're uptrending and I'm looking for a short, I'm not going to be too aggressive. I was thinking about putting it on this day open, right? Oh, this is the previous day high and low. But I was thinking about putting it on this previous day's high. I assume that is, but I guess I was a little bit greedy on this and wanted to go for a little bit more, fill in the fair value gap. But I didn't want to go all the way down here because that'd be far too much. So yeah, the market reversed almost almost immediately after take profit got hit, and then we have this continuation on the SMT. So we have this SMT right there. This went higher, so I was okay. I'm in. Although fair value, I'm sorry, not fair value. The VWAP was here, pushed up, created an SMT. It wasn't the greatest. It's like a more of a half risk thing, but I want to see it go back into that same level, that new day opening gap, and it went straight into it. We've been consolidating it ever since. But that was a setup for Nasdaq. Same thing happens, most days, and it's pretty exciting to see that happen. Like literally almost every single day. Yesterday was a big range day. Not a whole lot was going on. I didn't take any opportunities here. I think you could have seen this one coming from this one. Took out the lows, filled in the gap, and then I probably look for a long in here, mainly because it tells you that it wants to go higher. It's not breaking any more lows. Fills in the gap, right? The new week opening gap, fills it in, and then makes more displacement up here, and that'd be my buy. So I would be from here to here because this is what created the displacement leg, right? From here to here, hit 79, hit 705. That'd be my entry order. Once it starts to reverse up higher, this is whenever I look for an entry in here. We can even bring this down to let's do 15 seconds just to keep it, at least somewhat clean. But yeah, today's Friday, right? Yeah, today's Friday. Okay. So Thursday. I work so damn hard. It's like I forget what day it is sometimes. But you can see this gap from, was it here? Which one it was? Higher high, higher high. I'm sorry, higher low, higher low, higher low. Takes it all out. Makes this gap in here. And I'm looking for a reason why I should get in from any of these levels. Look at that. My buddies are having a great time over there. But filled in the fair value gaps, pushed up more fair value gaps in here. And it wanted to fill in those fair value gaps and made more liquidity. So created more liquidity, took it out, and then it ran up higher. But the reason why I would get in is because once it got all the way down into here and took out this liquidity, once it took it out, I'm looking for the market to give me a reason why I should get in, right? And that would be from a strong reversal, right? So 4 or 5 strong, very bullish candles in the opposite direction, I'd probably be a buyer somewhere in there. So essentially what I'm looking for, now I'm pretty much guessing here because I'm not looking at the 15-second time frame, but once the market reverses like that, near 705 and 79, especially 620, I don't really look for that much, not on this asset because this asset does wick a lot. But if I'm trading something like Forex, I'd probably use this one. But Forex is its own animal. Anyway, put the stop loss at the 1, and then I have my TP set to like a relatively conservative area, probably like up here. And that's a 1 to 3, so it's plenty for what I'm looking for, right? And that's basically the setup. You can see how we had, I guess, like a supporter or whatnot on VWAP there, So I like that, but I don't really use VWAP for that reason. I don't really look for support or resistance on it for like continuation. I mainly look for SMTs in this area. So if I pull up the 1 minute time frame and go back to that Thursday, let me see. Oops. Control Z. I'll just delete it. I don't need it up there anymore. But off of the, it was set to the chart, wasn't it? Yeah, it was set to the chart. It's fine. So anyway, from that low to the high, respective VWAP right there. And then I would look for SMT in this area. So this one made almost relative equal lows. So this one right there, right on the VWAP, made a relative equal low. And this one made a high. This one just went straight up. So this is where I would look for another buy-in. But that's essentially that on NASDAQ. On gold, gold was behaving, I guess, like rather strange today, mainly because there was no setups. The setup really happened prior to the 8:30 open, which is strange because this setup is I love this setup. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Although I do not look for an SMT opportunity. I don't look for any trades prior to 8:30. But this is just so good. I don't want to pass it up. So if I was looking at this, I'd 100% trade it. Just like I would not think twice because it's just such a good setup. So from this high to this high was higher. This high to this high was lower. I would look for a short opportunity once it starts to reverse down lower after the SMT was developed, and I look for a fill probably at this gap down in here, definitely below these lows in here, definitely. But you could even take out this low because we are in a bearish market direction. I believe we are. Let's look at the daily time frame. But I will look for TP to get hit near this new day opening gap, roughly a 1 to 5. So that's plenty for what I'm looking for. I'm not going to look for anything more than that. This is perfect. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So almost an hour. About 55 minutes an hour of watching. And that would pay you whatever your risk is times 5, just about. So that's pretty much that. Then on the opposite end, was that SMT? It sure was. Look at that. So from here to there, and you have it from here to there. The reversal near previous day. This is the Nasdaq. That's the New York AM session from yesterday. It's also the yesterday's previous day's low, and it created a higher low, lower low. I 100% buy in there. And as soon as it starts to reverse, stop loss near the low. Pretend that this entry is on this candle. Okay, so I have it near the low, a little bit higher, and it would go against me a little bit, and then it starts to find its direction, go up higher. I could either stop at 1 to 3 because 1 to 3 is like my minimum really on gold, honestly. I could either stop there, or I could ask for a VWAP, and it did fill in VWAP. I guess I'd be a little bit more conservative with how far into VWAP I wanted to go. Although it did go all the way to VWAP, could have asked for a 1 to 5, but I want to be a little bit more conservative because remember we are in a downtrend. If you put it on the daily time frame, I believe we are. Yeah, we're definitely in a downtrend. So we could definitely look for a new day opening gap in here. So if we put it to 24 hours, so new day opening gap. Oh, okay. It was just okay. Yeah. So this was the couple hour difference in between is anyway when the market closes. So from here to here, market could jump into that, but I'm not too hopeful on that because gold does not respect the levels the same. Although it likes to respect the levels. Like you can see how there's clearly a gap missing from in there. So you can see how there's a little bit missing from here, and it didn't fill in the gap from the previous new week opening gap. So you can see the difference, how it's not as perfect. In the daily time frame, you see how it's definitely falling down, right? So you could easily see a fill come into this gap. Although previously we do not fill gaps completely, and you can tell from here. You can tell from above, like this new week opening gap in here. Barely even. I'm sorry, is that new week? Yeah, new week opening gap in here. Barely got into the top at all. Jumped down, got into the fair value gap, but it didn't want to fill in the new week opening gap from previously. So that's the kind of thing that I'm kind of talking about. But anyway, moving along. Anyway. Yeah, so that's pretty much it on gold. I mean, for the past couple of days, gold has been just fantastic. Just today has been a little strange. It's not it's not setting up at the correct times. Just specifically this morning, this trade, but this one here was pretty good. New day, previous day low, so the market just completely reversed. It's very very nice. So even from yesterday, we did take a loser yesterday, the first loser in a while trading gold. Remember, all these trades are done live. It's just not done. It's just not done with a paper trading account or a live account. I guess I could paper trade, but it doesn't make any difference to me because I'm gonna have these set up anyway, so it doesn't really make much of a difference. But lower low, higher low, lower low, higher low. So double SMT. We're looking for a very strong bullish move from that. So we could very easily see the Asia high get taken out, or even a continuation even higher than that. But double SMT right there, very easy. So I wanted to see this gap here. So the reason why I wanted to trade this in the first place is silver did take out liquidity. We got into this little gap in here, the demand zone, and we see strong displacement after that on both sides. And from there, we could even see the Fibonacci retracements from there. You can see just how nice it was at 705. But from this setup here, like specifically, you could see how displacement SMT I got in. So that's the reason why I got in. But it wanted to create double SMT, which is even better. So you can ask for even more because double SMT is very strong. So create a double SMT, and then right after that hit 705, and then like almost immediately afterward, big excuse me, big green candles, and then it just reversed and it went like ballistic, crazy. Went all the way up to, yeah, Asia highs on silver and fed into pretty much all the fair value gaps, most of the new day opening gaps, except for these ones up here. But very, very, very nice setups. And the reason why I had my stop loss so low, I didn't have it all the way down here from the Fibonacci, is because my buy-in was from the SMTs here. So I could have my SMT opportunity. I could have my SMT opportunity pay me instead of my mouse is sliding. I got my SMT opportunity set up from really a lot of different stuff. Not my SMT. My entry opportunity in my stop loss can be set up from a lot of different ways and a lot of different things. So it doesn't really have to be from this low, or this low could be really wherever I want as long as it makes sense to the model. So the lows are down here. Lows, market's telling me that it wants to reverse. That's my entry. And then my stop loss would be at or near the lows, maybe a little bit lower if I'm not feeling good, a little bit higher if I'm confident. And then that'd be it. And then you see how got 1 to 5.15 right there. So going on to pound New Zealand and euro New Zealand. This guy's going crazy. But British pound and euro. The way that I do this is I go on Chrome and I look at, dude, I guess my ad blocker doesn't work on this website. Jesus. So what I do is I put 2 weeks right there, and then I look for whichever asset made made the most moves in the past 2 weeks. That's what I look for. Yes, I am a human motherfucker. Okay. So here, I would do pips coming up. Pound New Zealand and pound Australian. Pound is moving like crazy right now. I don't know what their banks are doing, but since pound New Zealand was number one, all I look for is its correlation. So on the correlation one, I look for pound New Zealand right there. What is it most attracted to? It's euro New Zealand. So I use these two to correlate it on the 5 minute time frame, and that way I have 93% correlation. So that 7% discorrelation or uncorrelation is what I'm looking for the entry opportunities to be. And when they present themselves like this, right? So this one, it's obviously in a bullish trend. It created SMT. It was not in like the best opportunity on British pound, but on euro, it had new day opening gap, took out liquidity, and it made a lower low. This one made a higher low, and I took that opportunity to fill in something yesterday. It was fair value gap something. I can't remember what I was targeting. I think I was doing, because this was 2 hours. Yeah, this was just about 2 hours ago. So what I do is here, push all the way up, and that I wanted to be a little more conservative, so I want to see it stop roughly at a 1 to 3. I wanted to be a flat 1 to 3. 1 to 3 is my basic, or my minimum for like almost all assets. That includes crude oil as well. But higher low, lower low, and then it just expands. Although this trade would have been better because it had the supply zone over there, also a new week opening gap up here as well. But I probably would have just traded this one anyway, because remember, this is the truth teller, this is the liar. So I'll always trade the truth unless you're trading crypto, because crypto has its own thing. But anyway, for this one here, this is Australian dollar. I'm not looking for that really. So what we can do is, remember, it was pound Australian that was going crazy. So GBP AUD. I wanted this fine. EUR AUD. So these ones were going crazy. So the discorrelation I was talking about was, remember, that right there, and I think I traded yesterday. So same thing. So market was using these VWAPs as support and resistance and whatnot, and you can even see on this one we were going to approach it, but we didn't. You see the market just wanted to stay bearish, and then once I entered, it literally went straight down. But after that, like on this candle, this specific candle went straight down, and then like it made the wick and then went straight down, but pushed up, and then I'm talking like just I don't even know what to tell you. It literally went straight down for 4 consecutive candles, right? So it just went literally straight down like a rock, and then had a little bit of a consolidation. The new week opening gap here, and the new day opening gap had a little bit of consolidation, and then it pushed up against me a little bit, and then dropped down, and it filled me in, and it went even lower than that, right? It went all the way to the new week opening gap down here, and then consolidated for a while, and in this area I'd look for another opportunity to get in long. All right, so from here to high, this is the displacement leg that I'm looking for. Right? What a coincidence it happened at the day open. You know what I'm saying? But 79, respected. Like I didn't want to break through it, although I wanted to see it dip into it a little bit. Well, that'd be perfect, right? But anyway, 705, perfect, and that'd be my opportunity to get in for a long. Because remember, we were going super down, like we were super bearish, and I started to respect this low in here, so like the new week opening gap. Dug into it a little bit deeper on the trade opportunity, and then consolidated for a while. It was pushing up higher. Like the market's literally telling you that it wants to go higher, pushing up higher. Retracement down near 705.79, push up higher. You can even enter from the low that made the displacement leg to the high, and it gets right in at 705.79. That'd be another entry opportunity during the Asian session and the transition to London. That'd be it right there. And then your TP would be near the high of the new day opening gap or the high of the New York AM session from yesterday. So that'll be what I'm looking for going forward, trading British pound New Zealand dollar, because it was the highest moving asset from the past 2 weeks on average. So moving along to crypto went crazy for the past, Bitcoin specifically and Ethereum correlation for the past couple of days has been going crazy, but the gap strategy that I posted yesterday was crazy too. So we had these three gaps pull up, or they came up from London session from yesterday, and we grabbed the liquidity from London and New York AM session from yesterday, and consolidation a bit, and the market's literally telling you that it wants to go higher. And then we had that displacement leg from here to here, 705.79, got respected, no bodies disrespected it, and it literally went straight up and filled in one of the gaps. I got a somewhat like decent fill, like conservative fill, just on the top of the first gap, and that was it for that. But yeah, man, if you have any questions, have my number on my Discord, whatever, just let me know.